Welcome back to the Composing Made Simple podcast. This is episode 21. On today's episode, it's going to be a little bit different than normal. It's just me on the podcast. I thought I would dive in and talk about the BBC Orchestra and another way to make some money, not just from music, to support yourself. All this and more on episode 21 of the Composing Made Simple podcast. So let's get on into it.
Composing Made Simple. We talk about something new every show. Composing Made Simple. Grab a coffee, have a seat, and let's go.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit different episode than normally that we do here. I'm flying solo today. The reason being, Chris and Curtis have actually been really, really busy. We've all actually been really, really busy, and we've tried to get together for literally the last month and a half. I'm recording this on June 18th, so since May we've been trying to get together, and we just haven't had our calendars haven't lined up. So I apologize not having the trifecta on this podcast, but I just wanted to get something out. Hopefully next month we'll be able to get together again and record back to normal like we normally do. So yeah, this is kind of a different episode than what you're normally used to. I just felt compelled to get on the mic and put out an episode and speak some things about me that's going on or that I've been going with, and about music, but a little bit of other things, maybe something that you might not think about. And so anyway, first let's cover the main topic of today, which is how to make money on the side, not from doing music. And it's a passive income. And I know we hear that term all the time, passive income. How can you get true passive income? You got to start a business, do online stuff. Yes, but something I've been doing for like the last 2 years, and I'm really hitting it serious, is investing. So investing in the stock market. Don't freak out. What I want to talk about is dividend investing. This is something I discovered about 2 years ago. Well, actually, the end of 2017, when I lost my job, a lot of things happened, and I was looking at other ways to make income, obviously doing YouTube, podcast, all this stuff. And I've always been interested in the stock market. I'm 38 years old, so when I was growing up, when I turned 18, was able to invest, it was a little bit different than the times we live in today. It's so easy now to invest. I mean, you just have an app on your phone and you're going. By the way, I first got used with Stash. If you're interested, I'll put a link below for a referral code. And it just helps me out, helps you out. I also use Robinhood. I could put that one in there. And if you invest with Robinhood, you get a free stock. I can't remember the value, and I'd get a free stock. So I'll put those in the show notes for you if you're interested. I don't, it would just help to support the podcast, obviously. So, that's it. But I started off with Stash. I've used M1 Finance, which is another great one. I don't have a referral code for that. But for somebody that's just getting started, I would definitely look at Stash. It's really cool. It's really simple to use. And like I said, I've been using it for over 2 years, and I really enjoy it. Some of the features that it has is it hooks to your bank account, and you can turn on this thing called Smart Savings. So it will deduct from your bank account, you can set it whatever you want, like $5, up to $5 a week or day to 10, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then every day, usually, will just deduct $1.50, $1.30. And, it sounds like little things, but, these things add up over time. And it just has really cool features like that. But anyway, what I want to talk about is dividend investing. So if you're not familiar with dividends and stuff like this, I've really been, it's kind of taken over my life, and I've really taken it serious because I really enjoy it. And once you get started and you start learning it, it gets addicting, just like music, just like any other passion or hobby. But what it is essentially is you invest in companies. I recommend blue chip stocks. So if you don't know what that is, these are companies like Apple, Coca-Cola, like big name companies that have been paying a dividend for years. This isn't something new. And basically when they share their revenue with shareholders, that's what a dividend is. And depends on how many stocks you have and the yield that the stock is yielding. And that's how it will come. Like some pay $5 annually and you'll get it 4 times a year, quarterly. Some pay monthly, usually REITs and stuff like that. Like I said, I've been really deep into this for the last 2 years, and I found a lot of good YouTubers. PPC Ian, a really good guy to look up. But I really recommend him. He's the one that really guided me a lot, and he's pretty straightforward. He does really long videos, but I think he shares a lot of great knowledge. So look him up on YouTube, PPC Ian, really great guy. But anyway, yeah, and it's kind of like if you want to think about stocks, it's kind of like when you put music into a library, it will pay royalties, stuff like that for doing nothing. You put in the work ahead of time, you put in the capital, the money, and eventually you'll get rewarded with being paid. And this is something. It's not a get quick rich thing. Dividend investing, you're not going to get rich unless you have 100,000. $500,000 sitting on the sidelines to deploy into the market, which I wouldn't recommend. I would do it. I would dollar cost average in, but it's going to take time to grow. But thinking about the way I think about it is instead of blowing $500, $600 on all these sample libraries that I really don't need, and me on this podcast, I'm always talking about that. Use what you got. Which is going to go into our next, topic after this, the BBC Orchestra. I have a lot to talk about on that. But you'll get this dividend, and eventually, once you start building a portfolio, 10,000, you're going to start seeing it. Because I remember one of the first couple dividends I ever got was like 3 cents, 5 cents. I was like, oh, okay, it's discouraging. But just seeing that, hey, wow. This company just paid me 3 cents. Now imagine if I invest even more, and you start building it up. And that's how it works. And eventually, it could be a side income for you. And being a musician, and if that's what you do full time, this could really help you out. I mean, this could give you a balance, or this could pay for your monthly bills, maybe your apartment, part of your food, stuff like that. And that's something you always can count on. I will forewarn though, since we are going through a pandemic, the worst thing that's ever happened in like the last 100 years, some companies have cut their dividend. They're not paying a dividend, or they've cut it down. But a lot of the stocks I own, like I said, blue chip stocks, well-known companies that have been paying dividends for years. And you do your research. I'm not a stock, I'm not a financial advisor or nothing like this. I'm just telling you and sharing my journey of, what I've been going through the 2 years just investing. And it's really awesome, to see that. And what you should do is when you get dividends, just reinvest it, and Stash has it's called Drip, that it will reinvest it for you. And most of them do that. And I recommend that because over time, it's going to add up and it's going to start compounding on it. So you just keep investing. And I would suggest when you first start out, pick like 5 stocks to start investing in. Stuff that you really believe in. Like me, I'm an Apple freak. So of course I own Apple shares. But they're a little expensive. I own some Coke stock, just invest in what you know and about a company and a brand. And I think you'll do well. Don't listen to the noise of, all the noise out there, just like anything else, just like in music, we have noise that we have to deal with, sample libraries. Just focus, pick something that works for you and just go, man. But anyway, yeah, I really wanted to talk about this. This is something that's been percolating in my head. I just didn't know when to share it. It's kind of a weird topic. This is a music composing podcast, but, there's a lot more to being a musician and a composer. I mean, we have more things that we're interested in, but I thought dividend investing can be very helpful for a composer or a musician for side income. I mean, it's amazing, once you start seeing some checks rolling. Like, I'm not saying I have like a huge, like I'm living off dividends. I'm not. I'm preparing for my future. And, like I said, I've only been in this 2 years, but, when I lost my job and, times were tough, I was building a portfolio 2 years ago. I'd be a lot further ahead. I had to take capital out to pay bills. So that's what I'm saying. Also, if you get into hot water, like a real true emergency, hey, you got some capital built up. Yeah, it's going to diminish your portfolio, but hey, at least you can take some money out and live and not go bankrupt, or put it on a charge card. But I just think this is genius. If I would have known about dividend investing when I was 18 years old, my life would be completely different. Like I said, back when I was 18, that would have been 1999. You had to pay to do a trade, and you had to call somebody. It's totally different now. We have the phone. You can get it on your phone. Like I said, I'd recommend Stash. That's what I use right now. Currently, I still use. I floated away and tried M1. I do have an M1 portfolio, but it's a very small one, and it's kind of like a dividend trial and error kind of experiment. I just pick companies and see how it does. But on my main one I use for Stash, like I said, I'll put a link down below for a referral code to get you started. I love it. It's very simple, very easy to use. I don't want difficult. I just put my money in, buy the stock, done. I don't need all that stuff. I don't want all that busy stuff. I just want to make sure And it's very simple. It gives you all the reading, all the data that you need, company history. And there's also a subscription plan with Stash they have like a learning library that will teach you things, which I use, I would read up on, but I've been doing it for 2 years now, and I do my own research on YouTube that I've kind of got to figure out. I'm no expert, but I'm just saying, like, I kind of know what to do and I kind of understand things. But, like I said, if I would have known about this when I was 18, I would have really invested and said, hey, because right now I could be semi-retired, living off dividends or paying bills, but still working. And it's not saying that, I want to retire tomorrow or retire in 10 years and not work at all. But I'm looking at it as a future thing. Maybe one day, 10, 15 years from now, if my portfolio is big enough, like, I might be able to do music full time because I have a side income and I can do other things. So that's how I'm looking at it. I've kind of accepted the fact I'm 38 years old. I'm not ruling it out, but I just probably am not going to do composing for a full-time living, and that's okay. That doesn't mean I've lost. That doesn't mean I'm not good enough. It just means that it's not in the cards. I have a great job right now. But that doesn't mean I can't do side gigs. I can't do something. Who knows? Life is all about, it's unknown, and anything can happen at any time, and which is the beautiful thing about life. And I just don't, I'm just not pursuing it as hard as I once was. When I lost my job, of course, I was like, hey, this is the time. I have nothing else to do. And I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. I was doing Twitch, streaming on Twitch, doing video games. And then I was doing YouTube videos, and we were doing the podcast. And I was trying to, just too much stuff. And I burnt myself out. So now I'm just really starting to focus on things, and prioritizing what's really important, what really I should focus my energy on. And for me right now, it's working. I love the podcast. I love talking with Chris and Curtis monthly. And like I said, we really have plans for this podcast, but we need your support. Like I said, we have a Patreon account. We're working on it to make all the things. Right now, you can invest as low as $1 a month, and you won't be charged the first month. So if you don't like it, whatever. But if we do have backers, we do want to do things for you. And like I said, in our Discord, you can get in our Discord right now, but there will be a special section for patrons only where you can talk to me and Curtis and Chris directly, ask questions, get help. This is all stuff we want to do. And eventually we'd like to move this podcast into a video podcast and invite guests on and kind of make it a thing and have like a pre-show or maybe a post-show where patrons can come in and talk to us. And I've thought about things too, of holding like a monthly hangout session on Google or whatever, maybe Zoom now, and get together and and talk with everybody and just hang out, for like an hour on a weekend, and talk about music and what's going on. Hey, what library, just like that for patrons. That's what I'm saying. Like, I really have a lot of things for this, but we just want to know that we have you, the audience, that are listeners. I mean, we've noticed the podcast growing. We're getting more listens a month, which we really appreciate. When we just started this thing, we're just like I said, how this all started, I think we talked about this on the last episode, was from my YouTube channel. And, I interviewed Curtis first. It was the first interview. I've been a fan of Curtis. I've watched his YouTube videos previously. And then Chris joined one of my live streams, and I said, hey, well, let's get you on the podcast because I love this piece. And we talked. And then me and Curtis were kind of already talking about doing a podcast because we meshed so well. We're kind of polar opposites, but yet not. We're a similar age and, all that stuff. But we thought, well, hey, Chris would be a great addition. And it is. And I hope everybody's appreciated and loves the podcast because I do. So it's not going away or anything. Like, it might sound weird. Like, why is Todd only on this podcast and not Chris and Curtis? Like I said, it's just been crazy with the pandemic. Curtis has been wrapped up in some projects. And same with Chris. So I really apologize. And I didn't want to have nothing because we didn't do anything for May. And I'm feeling really bad if we don't have anything for June. And, and that kind of lets down, like, why would you back this podcast on Patreon? Because we have, you guys haven't done anything too much. So like I said, we're committed. We're going to do it. But we just want to know that, hey, we have the support before we just go and start doing this stuff, basically. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. I don't have Chris and Curtis to slap me and put me back on track. But you know what? Hey, I don't care. But yeah, dividend investing, if you're not familiar with it, please look it up, look at it. This could be an option for you to supplement your income on those lean times. Like if you are full-blown doing composing and being a musician full-time, I know how rough it is. I was doing freelance for like about a year and a half, and I know what it's like to like, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I, I know, I've been there. And that's why, like, I kind of love having a full-time gig now. I do miss, having the freedom, but I work from home, and it's kind of the same thing. So I love it. But anyway, yeah, so looking at dividend investing, it's something I've wanted to talk about, like I said earlier, on the podcast for a while. I might do a video for YouTube as well, to show my journey and show the portfolio, show everything, which I can't do in audio form. Can just describe it, which I just did. But I think it could be somewhere that eventually it could support you. So you're not stressing. It's like, hey, I got this. And you just keep reinvesting those dividends for right now. But then once you get to a point where, it could supplement your income, then you can start pulling them out. But I'm looking at, for me, it's the play is for retirement, because I don't know when I retire if there's going to be Social Security or what's going to be out there. And it's kind of one of those things. Hopefully by the time I retire, my goal would be 50 years old, which I'm, about 20 years away from that. And I don't know. We'll see. You have to have if I can lower my income and live frugally, when I'm retired, which you want to do, it could be done. So you don't need like $1 million, $2 million portfolio to live off dividends. So it just depends if you play your cards right, and that stuff. But anyway, I really wanted to bring this to the community. This is kind of a different episode since Kirsten and Curtis ain't here. I don't know if they even invest. I don't even know. But I just wanted to put something out and put that in your mind. Give you something to think about. Like I said, if I would have had somebody like me telling me when I was 18 years old, because I wanted to do music. I wanted to just play in bands, play guitar and all this stuff. But, my plan B was college. And I went to college and I got a degree, a bachelor's degree in instructional design, which was my full-time job right now. And in hindsight, I'm so glad I did that, because who knows where I would have been if I would have just, been that, hey, chasing that rock star dream, we all have when we're 18, 17 years old. We don't know anything. And I'm just so glad I do have a degree, because I wouldn't be where I am today without it. I'm so thankful for it. So, my path went somewhere else. When I was 17, 18, that's all I wanted to do was play music. That doesn't mean I can't play music. I can still do that. I can fire up a little band and, play. Well, right now with the pandemic going on, can't really do any of it. So, but you know what I mean. I could always get a little bar band together and play on the weekends, which I've thought about. I have 2 young, small children, so that makes it a little difficult for me. And I think about that too. Imagine if, I was a musician and I'm out touring all the time. I wouldn't be home to see my kids. And one thing, 4 years ago, it was roughly 4 years ago, about 4 years ago, exactly, when I went full remote from my job. And I'm so thankful that my prior company let me do that, and that I still continue to work from home, because I've got my youngest daughter was born just after we moved, and I went remote, and I got to be with her every day and got to see her, kind of grow up, and I didn't miss out on stuff, and so I'm very thankful for that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I can only imagine if I was a full-time touring musician, I would have missed out on so much with my kids. And, like I said, it's just a play that hopefully that this dividend investing will pay off, or eventually, when I'm 50, 55, maybe I could go switch to a full-time role doing music and not have to struggle and worry about it. And because I have this side income that comes in, and kind of do a semi-retirement, still work, do maybe more freelance work and not have to stress and and worry about, how I'm paying the mortgage and stuff. Because right now, my monthly cost is just too much. I have student loan debt, all that stuff. So eventually, once all that's paid, my cost of living won't be as bad. And, dividend investing, I won't need as much to live off of. So anyway, that's my main topic for the podcast. I know it's not music related, but I'm really curious to find out what you think about this. If you do invest, reach out to me. You can go on the Composing Made Simple Facebook page. If you don't know about that, head over to Facebook.com/Composing Made Simple. We have a Facebook group page. I would like to do more on it. I'm just not the best with social media, but it's something that we would like to do and keep conversations. Go over there, and if you haven't liked it or didn't know about it, go over there, say hi, leave a comment, but let me know if you're an investor, if not, or if this really it touched you in some way. If you liked it, and just let me know. I'd like to know that feedback. We don't get any feedback on these episodes, or hop into our Discord channel. That's another great place. We have a lot of great people in there, a lot of composers, a lot of like-minded people. Sometimes it's, it's dead time, but sometimes it's very active. It just depends. I understand a lot of people are busy. We're all dealing with a lot of stuff right now. And I understand. I don't expect everybody to be chatting away. But that's another great place. And like I said, you can find all this on composingmadesimple.com. It should be up in the right-hand corner, which I need to do a revamp of the website. It's been something I wanted to do. I just need to find the time. And like I said, I want to do more with the website too, like maybe a forum. Who knows? But, I have a bunch of ideas. It's just the time and if the need and want is there from the community. We're building a community here. And, so far we've been doing this for almost 2 years, which is hard to believe. And we're just so thankful that the stuff that we have heard from fans, and because like people come into the Discord all the time and say, hey, I found you guys from the podcast. Love your podcast. Love what you guys do. So we really appreciate that. I understand a lot of people don't like to speak up, but hey, we need that fulfillment, that feedback. There we go. We would love the feedback. Like, tell us what you want to hear or what you want us to cover, because this is as much as your podcast as it is ours. We just started it because there really isn't any good composing podcasts that I've ever found. And if there is, let me know. I'd love to hear them. So I kind of started this thing up myself, and here we are. So yeah, so that concludes the stock dividend investing. Hopefully that's something you can shoot for. And like I said, just start out small. Don't get discouraged. Once you get that first dividend payment from a company, I think it will click and you'll see like, oh, I get it. And then it's just a snowball. Once you keep going, you be committed to it. It's just like music. When you first start off, you play an instrument, you're not very good. But a year goes by, 2 years go by, and all of a sudden you're starting to do all these things. And, bam. And that's kind of what dividend investing is like. So I kind of relate it to music. It's very fulfilling, but it takes time to get there. All right, so let's move on to our second topic. Now, what I want to talk about is the BBC Orchestra SO, the free version. So I signed up, I think I got an email, I can't remember if it was March or April, about them offering this for the free version of BBC Symphony Orchestra. I was like, yeah, I'm going to jump on that. And I think it's normally like $40 or $50. I got it for free because I own other, libraries of Spitfire. And so I did something very creative the other day. I was like about a week ago, actually. I started writing a piece with just the BBC Symphony Orchestra. I wanted to see what I could do with it. How does it sound? How does it work? Because it's very limited. It's got, your basic articulations. I think it has longs, staccato. I think it's, I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. I don't have my template up right now. But, it's very basic. It's not a lot of stuff going on. Just what you need. So I just wanted to talk about that and let you know how I think. And I think if somebody just getting into this, like a newbie, or you need a good library to start with, I think this is it for you. And if you can get it for free, even better. But $50 is pretty good. Saying for my first library, I paid like $500, maybe $600, and no, actually it was $800 because it was Albion, the original Albion. I think it was like $600 or $700. So this being like $50, this is a no-brainer. It's got everything you need. It's got all the sections. It doesn't have like a piano and stuff like that, but it just has the basic orchestra core instruments that you need: brass, woodwinds, strings, and percussion. And obviously, if you had synths and stuff like that, you can add those into it and make a really great template. And it runs really good. And I think it runs off of Spitfire's engine, which is another plus, So they have complete control. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. I don't think I can talk like hours about it. Obviously, if we had Chris and Curtis here and if they used it, they would totally, the conversation. But since it's just me, I just kind of wanted to talk about it and my experience with it. Like I said, I started writing a piece with it. To see what I can do with it. I'm not finished with the piece. I got, in about, maybe 32 bars, 16 bars. I haven't been composing as much MIDI, and orchestral stuff. I was working on a lot of like rock, guitar oriented tracks for like the last couple of months. I just needed a break. I burned myself out with trying to compose, and it's good to take a break and try new things, because those things that you learn, you can bring them back over into this stuff, or take what you learn here into your other things. So I always like to keep it fresh and learn new things and stuff like that. But I was really impressed with BBC SO. Just like the quality, the sound. I mean, for being free, like, I'm just going to talk from my experience because I got it for free. It blew me away. Like, it sounds, normally when you think of free, it's like, oh, it's not going to be recorded very well. It's, probably not going to sound very good. But I'm here to say it sounds really good. Like, I bet you if, somebody that knows what they're doing orchestral wise, someone's way better than me, and they did an only, which I'm sure somebody's done on YouTube or VI Control or whatever, I bet you wouldn't even know, if it's been, EQ'd and all that great stuff and mixed and properly. I guarantee you this free version of BBC Orchestra can hold up to any sample library. And that's saying a lot. If you disagree, let me know. But I really think so. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, I mean, and I think my template, I did a template, and I'm kind of the guy that does, every articulation is a separate instrument in a template. And I think the template only ended up being like less than 50 tracks, if that. I mean, it might have only been 30 to 40. And it's so simple. Like, I'm, in the part of my life where I don't want complex. Maybe when I was younger, you like all that complex stuff. When I'm writing music, I just want to get to what I need and do it, because I don't want that idea to escape me, or I won't be able to play it, stuff like that. So for me, that helped out a lot too, because it's like, it's all right there for what I need and what I normally use all the time. We always use pizzicato. Sorry, that was the other one I'm missing. It's pizzicato, staccato, and I think longs, and maybe spiccato, I think. Staccato and spiccato and pizzicato. So I got all that, and those are your basic things. Most things that you write, it's going to use that anyway. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just right there. It's got all the instruments that I need. I don't need like a 1,200, 1,500 track template where I'm scrolling for days to find an instrument. It's great. I see the purpose in that. But like I said, I'm getting to a point in my life where it's like, I don't want complexity. I want simplicity. I just want the idea out. I just want to make music. And I don't want to have to fumble with my template, So I've really scaled back. And I think going forward, because I think my other template was like maybe a couple hundred tracks, I think I might use BBC as my core, and then, just add what I need as bells and whistles. And then, of course, like Omnisphere and other synths and stuff like that will be, incorporated in there. But I think going forward, BBC SO, the free version, is going to be my main one. I'll let you know. But right now, as of June of this recording, that's what I'm pretty much going to do. So yeah, I'm just blown away. I think we're in the greatest time ever. Like I said, I'm in my late 30s, and I would have killed for all this stuff back when I was in high school. The technology is just so wonderful. Back when I had so much time to write music, and that's what I used to do in high school and in college, was play guitar. But I remember having a Windows, probably ME or 98, or I can't remember. I was in college, and using Sound Recorder to record ideas. And I remember when I went to community college right after I graduated high school, I took an electronic music course, very new for the time. This would have been like 2001, maybe 2002. No, it's probably 2001. And, it was early edition of Cakewalk and Pro Tools. This is back when I think DigiDesign owned Pro Tools. And a rig was like 10,000. It was insane. And now for like, $1,500, you can have a computer and, software, a Pro Tools or a Logic, and, a decent audio interface. And if you need a mic, which if you're doing MIDI, you don't need a mic, but it's good to have a mic just in case. I mean, you have a full-fledged recording studio at your fingertips. With whatever, how many tracks. You got to think about it. Most of the music that was made in the 60s and 70s were with 4 and 8 tracks. So there you go. So it's not about, and like Sgt. Pepper's and all those great albums, were recorded on I think 4 8-track or a 4-track or an 8-track. That's it. That's all they had. So it's not sometimes having too much stifles creativity, and I've learned that a lot. And that's why I said I'm focused on simplicity. Let's let the ideas speak for themselves. I mean, it's great to always produce and add all the bells and whistles, but just to get it on paper, get it in the DAW, get it in the workstation, and get moving. Because I find if I fiddle around and monkey with stuff, the idea is gone, and I've wasted a week on a piece, and I'm only 32 bars in, and then I get stuck because the ideas stop flowing. It kind of hinders my creativity. So anyway, yeah. So that's kind of my spiel on BBC SO. If you don't have it, see if you can get it for free. If not, like I said, I think it's like $50 USA. Well worth it. I mean, well worth it. Especially if you're just getting started at this and you need a library, a very inexpensive library, and you don't want to break the bank. I would definitely recommend this instead of going out and blowing $300, $500 on a library, and then you come up short at the end. And I think you would be very happy with this, and I think it could grow with you. And obviously, once you get really good at this and you start making some extra money on your music, of course, invest in other libraries because you're going to need them. But I'm saying for core, I think BBC SO, the free version, is amazing. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our final statement and our pick of the show. All right, so that's kind of the main topics I wanted to talk today. I hope you guys like that. Like I said, it was a little bit of a different show than we're normally used to. Obviously, Chris and Curtis ain't here to tell me to be quiet or to put me on track. And like I said, hopefully we'll be back in July with a normal episode with both of them. Like I said, everybody's just been busy. COVID, it's just been nuts. This year has been crazy ever since February. But like I said, please reach out. Hit up our Patreon page. Like I said, you can invest for as low as $1. We're going to get working on that and offer different ones. I think we just have basic placeholders in there now. You won't get charged for the first month, but we would like to do small little episodes on Patreon or Patreon only content. Maybe offer the podcast a couple days early. Like I said, I would like to set up a monthly hangout, with me or Chris and Curtis or all three of us or whoever can join, and just sit and talk for an hour and talk about music and hang out. And obviously we would love to do a video version of this and offer a pre-show for patrons and a post-show, and get guests on and talk and stuff like that. So we have a lot of big plans, and obviously the website, we want to do more. I want to do more with it, write articles and stuff like that. So we kind of need, some baggage, and we need to see that a community is here and willing to support us, and we will produce more. It's, what I'm saying? It's an even thing. I don't want the money. I'm not sitting here saying I need money. No, I don't. I'm just saying, and I think me and Chris and Curtis really explained it on the last episode or whatever, that, we want to do more. It's just we have to, make it worth our while because, we have families and bills and stuff like that. So if it's taken away from our main jobs or our side, jobs, it kind of needs to make some income for us. So that's why. But we're not doing this for the income. We've been doing this for 2 years and haven't made a penny. I pay the freaking hosting and stuff like that, but I want to up the hosting. That's what I'm saying. If we make this a video podcast, we got to pay more in video hosting. Right now we have the cheapest plan just to do the audio, but we want to do a video one. We can't stress it enough. We want to bring this into video. You can see me, Chris, and Curtis. We can show things. We can do, screen grabs and all that cool stuff. So we just need your support. And like I said, we've been doing this for 2 years. I think we've proven that, we're invested in the podcast. We want to make it grow. And please head over to our Discord, come in and tell us what you want to see on it. You want to see interviews, certain topics, what you would like to see on the show, because we just do what we think and we don't know. It's like sometimes we're like in the dark and, we need that feedback. But anyway, I don't really have a pick of the week or of the show. I guess I would say my Apollo Twin. I think that was one previously. It's amazing. If you don't have an Apollo Twin, look at Universal Audio. They're a little expensive. Obviously, if you're just getting started in this, I wouldn't recommend it. I bought it, like I said, because I was doing more rock, more audio, guitar stuff, recording, and they have really good preamps and stuff like that. I just love it. It's amazing. It's the best audio interface I've ever bought. There's just so many cool whistles. But I'm just gonna go with that, and maybe the BBC Orchestra, the free version, because it blew me away, and I was shocked, at how well I received it, But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, head on over to composingmadesimple.com. You can sign up for the Facebook page. I mean, it's not really sign up, but just like the Facebook page. Like I said, it's something we want to really hit at. Go over to the Patreon. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. We would really appreciate it. We think, we just want to see that we have support, we have the community, and we have the want of people that want this podcast. And so if we start seeing that, we're going to start putting more into it. We're going to start doing it anyway, like I might, but I'm just saying it's more of an incentive for us to like take it serious and not just, meet once a month, like, actually involve the community. Like I said, we're going to get that all up on the Patreon page. This is something I have to do. And all the rewards, maybe we'll probably do $1, $5, and $10 a month. Keep it pretty low cost and, offer different things for those tiers. And like I said, maybe $10 a month, we can do a monthly hangout, on Google or Zoom or something. And you can, come in with me, Chris and Curtis, talk, hang out for an hour, whatever. I really want to do that. I think that would be really cool. We can even do it in Discord. And like I said, there will be a Discord only section to anybody that donates. So that's cool where you can ask questions. What we could also do is that patrons only section Discord, you can put questions, topics for the show, and you'll get credit. We'll shout you out. And that's something we'd also would do if you do become a patron. We will give you a shout out on the podcast. We can plug anything you want, your website, your YouTube channel, whatever. Your music, we'll be willing to do that. So that's another tier that we would definitely offer. Like I said, I just got to get into the Patreon page. You're not going to see that when you go there, but that's stuff that we're working on, me, Chris, and Curtis, to come up with really cool stuff for the community. Anyway, I've talked enough. Like I said, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry it's different, but I just wanted to get something out there. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Like I said, head on over to composingmadesimple.com. You can find all the links there to Chris, Curtis, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff, and to our Patreon page. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.